Hi guys, Ghost Peppa here. So today I'm going to do something a little different, and I actually have a TCG deck list for you. Now granted, we are supposed to get some new support in Master Duel, and this will directly influence my deck changes in Master Duel. But in TCG, we don't have access to the cards that you guys usually see in Master Duel, like Verte is banned. We don't have access to Arise Heart, we don't have access to Diablosis, etc. So for this list, which is a Red-Eyes Kashtira list, this is what I'm currently running in the TCG. It's definitely not something that's going to top tournaments, but you can still hold your own in locals and have a pretty fun time. Also, as with most of the Red-Eyes decks, people don't usually see it coming, and so you can play around things that they may have otherwise prepared for. So without further ado, we run 2 Red-Eyes Black Dragons, we run 1 Red-Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, we run a Bestial Lubellion, we run Kashtira Ogre, we run Kashtira Unicorn, we run Kashtira Fenrir, and so Unicorn's a 2 of, Fenrir is a 2 of. We have a new one, which is Scareclaw Kashtira, and hopefully that one will be releasing soon in Master Duel, because that will definitely be a handy one to have to help us build our boards. Then for our Bestials, it's a little lighter than what you've seen me use in Master Duel, and I have a Bestial Druisworm and a Bestial Magnamut. Then we run 2 Red-Eyes Black Meteor Dragons, we run an Fallen of Albaz, we run 2 Kashtira Rise Hearts, we run 2 Ash Blossoms, we run 2 Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, we run 3 Black Metal Dragons, we run a 1-for-1, a Triple Tactics Talent, 2 Kashtira Theosis, a Monster Reborn, a Called by the Grave, a Branded Regained, 2 Kashtira Birth, 3 Pressured Planet Raidsoth, 1 Kashtira Big Bang, a Red-Eye Spirit, a Kashtira Prep, and a Branded Beast. And as you see, the main deck is 40 cards, and then going into the extra deck, we run a Mirror Jade, a Sprind, and a Renbrum. So this 3-card package is part of a funny interaction with Albaz, but I'll touch on it when we get to the card that enables it. We run 1 Synchro, which is Baronne to Fleur, so any level 7, plus a level 3 tuner, which ashes, and also Ghost Mourner. So it is Red-Eyes, you're not going to have perfectly optimal hands every time guaranteed. So in some cases, say you just draw into a level 7 extender and you can't go as far as you'd like, you can always get that Baronne de Fleur on the field. So that's why that is run, and of course an Omni Negate is not going to hurt. Then we run a Zeus, we run 2 Flare Metals, we run a Dark Arm, the Dragon of Annihilation, a number 11 Big Eye, we run a Volferinges, the Darkest Dragon Doom Rider, 1 Kashtira Shangri-Ira, a Hieratic Dragon King of Atum. So this card, I sort of go back and forth, but the ability to, during your turn, search and summon a dragon if you have 2 Bestials is really good. And also, I can still get into it if I need to. Say I have a Bestial and I have a Red-Eyes Darkness Metal, I can summon a Meteor Dragon from Grave, and it will summon as a level 6 instead of a 7 because it didn't use its effect. And that's another way to get into it. But I am still testing with that. Right now it's doing pretty good, but I can consider removing that at some point. But moving on, we run a Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, a Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, and a Striker Dragon. So you remember I mentioned the Albaz package earlier, so Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres is what enables this. So when you build a complete board, you're going to have a varied amount of cards on field, but ideally you do want to have Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres up. And this card has 2 wonderful effects. So one, as a quick effect during your opponent's turn, and this is at any time, I can tribute 1 monster from my hand or field, which in most cases I will be tributing Heavenly Spheres. Once per turn this effect is. When this happens, I can return a face-up card on the field to the hand. So say if they have a fusion or Xyz, etc., something from the extra deck on field, I bounce it back to extra deck, which is great. Also, this card can dodge all kinds of effects. So say they activate Skill Drain to slow me down. I can bounce Skill Drain back to hand. If they want to lock me out with extra deck cards that are unaffected by cards on the field, I can bounce those, because if I send spheres to a grave, then it is no longer on field when its effect goes off. Now, part 2. If this is tributed for said effect, I can special summon a dragon monster from my hand or deck and make its attack defense 0. So, funny enough, as many of you guys know, I do play branded as well. Albaz is a dragon. This card brings it out as a 0/0, but it doesn't negate its effect. So the second Albaz hits the field, then I can instantly fusion summon with a super poly effect, because you have to use Albaz and one creature on the field. So I can use cards that they have. So say they have 2 extra deck cards. I can bounce one and then use Albaz to fuse with it to make Mirror Jade at instant speed during their turn. So this is a phenomenal effect. And then Mirror Jade can non-target banish a monster from their field at instant speed during their turn, sending Renbrum to grave. And then when Renbrum is in grave during their turn, I can always trigger its effect, banish itself, summon Albaz, and I can go into Sprint. Or say if they bounce Mirror Jade back, I can go into another Mirror Jade. Alternatively, if they don't have extra deck cards on field, but they've special summoned some effect monsters, I can go into Sprint, which is just Fallen of Albaz and an effect monster special summon this turn. So these are my quick super poly package cards, and then this card is a send target for Mirror Jade and also a resummon of Albaz to do it again. Outside of that, most of my extra deck cards, other than Baronne, are dark or light, as you can see. So, Branded Regain, just like my adventure deck in Master Duel, when I banish a card that is light or dark, I can shuffle it back into the deck or the extra deck to draw a card. So this gives me some recycling of my extra deck cards, so I can run things a little thinner than normal, and also provides me with a pretty steady draw engine, which is great. Also, Branded Beast can always bring Branded Regains out of grave to the field. And for once, I actually have enough space to run Branded Beast, which oftentimes I don't. So I've tested and tested with these ratios, and this spread of Red-Eyes to Kashtira is what I have found the most optimal. Scareclaw Kashtira is great because it can extend by banishing Kashtira cards, and when it banishes a Kashtira card, then I can extend with Kashtira Prep, or I can just immediately summon things with Kashtira Birth. So all of that is great. Another card that's going to be new for some of you Master Duel players is Pressured Planet Ratesoth. Now, obviously, you can see the name's a little different in the top left, but that's because I think some of these skins are pre-release with a not final translation. But anyways, Pressured Planet Ratesoth is the field spell for Kashtira. So when this card's activated, I can add a Kashtira monster from my deck to my hand, and then it has a secondary effect, which is monsters you control gain 100 attack defense for each attribute on the field. So Kashtira cards are varied heavily in their attributes. So we have a water, wind, fire, earth, and then on the Red-Eyes and on my Bestials, we have a mix of dark and light. So between that, we have a pretty good attribute spread. So one, that's a super poly nightmare if they were trying to get rid of my stuff. And then two, this lets me really beef up a lot of my cards. Like, for example, some of my Flare medals will come out and they will have much more than their standard 2800 attack. It'll be over 3000, so it makes it much harder for them to beat over the cards. And then outside of that, I have run thicker Bestial engines before, but if I do, it does tend to lock up the Kashtira line, which is why I'm running what I would consider a minimal engine, which is Bestial Lubellion, Bestial Druisworm, and Bestial Magnemite. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on limits so you can see what we're dealing with in TCG. But as you can see, Kashtira Unicorn is limited to 2, which is different from Master Duel, which has Fenrir limited to 2, so it's the opposite. Magnamut is at 1 everywhere now, I believe, so that's pretty standard. 1 for 1 is the same. Once Reborn is the same. Called by the Grave is at 1 in TCG, as is Striker Dragon. Now, Striker Dragon I would just run as a 1 of anyway, so that's not a big deal. But Called by in Master Duel, I would definitely run this as a 2 of because it's such a good card. But in TCG, we don't have that luxury, so I run it as a 1 of. Alright, so now that I've given you guys a breakdown, let's look at some quick test duels. Okay guys, so first off, the program that I'm going to be using today is called EDO Pro. So this is a good program that you can use to test any potential decks that you're working on. Any cards are free. It's not like Master Duel where you have to buy them with gems. And you can test Master Duel decks, you can test TCG, OCG, etc. So in this case, we're going first. So I'm going to start by activating the field spell, which is always the number 1. Okay. Obviously you can Ash, but we do not, so they must not have an Ash, so we will add a Kashtira from deck to hand. I will be adding Kashtira Unicorn to hand. That's the best starter for sure. So I will summon Kashtira Unicorn, activate Unicorn's effect, searching Kashtira Birth, and then we will activate Kashtira Birth. And then at this point, I am going to go ahead and if I activate Kashtira Theosis, which this is good for you guys in Master Duel as well, when I activate it, I can target a Kashtira, so in this case, Kashtira Unicorn, and I can special summon a Kashtira with a different attribute from my deck in defense. So going first, doesn't matter, not at all. But it will lock you into Xyz. So if you are going to build out a deck, or build out a board, and you want to summon anything outside of Xyz, you need to do that first. So here, in this situation, you see I do have an Ash Blossom in hand. I have Kashtira Unicorn on field. It's only been special summoned, so I still have my normal summon. And then I will instantly be able to get out a minimum of 3 Kashtiras as follow-up. So this is what I would consider the best first play here. Ash Blossom is great, but I can actually take those 2 and just go ahead and get a Baronne de Fleur on the field, which I will do. And then I can use Kashtira Birth to special summon Unicorn. Now everything I do is protected, so like they can't nib me, anything like that. Alright, and at this point, there's nothing I can do that wouldn't be in Xyz, so we will go ahead and start locking into the Xyz lineup. So we're going to use Kashtira Theosis, we're going to search out and summon Kashtira Fenrir in this case, so we'll get Fenrir on the field. I'm going to activate Fenrir's effect. Fenrir searches for another Kashtira, so we can search Scareclaw Kashtira, etc, etc. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and search us probably Scareclaw Kashtira. Yes, okay, I'm going to search Scareclaw Kashtira, okay, which is obviously it's a quick effect, so it's activatable at this point. I'm going to activate Riseheart's effect, special summoning Riseheart, and then here at this point we're going to go ahead and get our Kashtira Shangri-Ira onto the field. Always summon it in defense. It does have protection. It is not a once per turn, but it can protect itself based on how many materials it has on field. So here we have Riseheart, so I'm going to activate Riseheart's effect. I'm going to banish Big Bang. This will instantly make Riseheart level 7. Kashtira Shangri-Ira will see that. I can lock a zone. Okay, at this point, Big Bang was banished. It does have an effect, so I can target Shangri-Ira, and then I can special summon one of its materials to the field after adding it to the hand. So in this case, this just gives us more level 7s to extend with, but I will go ahead and summon Fenrir. And then, in response, you are allowed to pop a card. That's sort of the gist of the field spell. So just like most of these field spell cards that are really good, similar in Tearlaments, etc., Labyrinth, it has multiple effects. So 1 is it searches, 2 is it boosts my cards, and 3 is when Shangri-Ira activates an effect, I can pop a card on the field. But it is a target effect, so just keep that in mind, and it is once per turn. Okay, so in this case, no need to pop, we're not going to, so we will pass on that. And here, we have access to a few different options. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and get some burn on the field, so I'm going to go ahead and summon my Red-Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. And then here, I can go ahead and activate Scareclaw Kashtira's effect, summoning it to the field, and I can banish Kashtira Theosis. When Kashtira Theosis is banished, what it'll let me do is take another Kashtira card that's banished and add it back to my hand. So you remember, I banished Big Bang, but I can now take Big Bang and I can add it back to my hand. If I want to, I can set it to the field for an additional set of interruption, but we do have an Omni Negate. We have an additional body just so I could cycle Big Bang back. We have Red-Eyes Flare Metal, and we have Shangri-Ira out on the field waiting. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and set Big Bang just in case I need it, and we'll go ahead and pass the turn. Okay, during the standby phase, I can activate Shangri-Ira's effect. Shangri-Ira, I always summon a Fenrir, just so I have another form of interaction. Prime would let me pop it, but again, no need. So we'll continue on. Okay, they are activating Rite of Aramasir. So I can either stop that or I can let it go through. So we will go ahead and let it go through. They will burn. Okay, they went Sangan. Okay, now Sangan will search them a card here, but let's let them go for it. They search Maxi. Now they're burning for all of this, so we'll continue. Okay. Alright, now here they're activating Crystron Halqifibrax. So I know when it activates this effect, it will let them special summon a level 3 or lower tuner from hand or deck, but that's okay. So I am actually going to let them do that, and then in response to that, I'm going to go ahead and banish Halq. And then, in response to that, I will lock another zone. Okay, and then the field spell activates. Now I will do it, and I will go ahead and pop Jet Synchron. Okay, Jet Synchron has an effect. You can discard a card to special summon. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and negate that just to stop their further plays. Okay, Link Spider comes out. Foolish Burial. Okay, now keep in mind, they activated a spell here, and I do have a Kashtira on field, so I can activate Birth. And they sent Water Enchantress, which Water Enchantress can search out a Rite of Aramasir, but they've already done that once per turn. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is remove that from the picture completely, and I'm going to remove any other potential cards they have to adjust the board. So we'll go ahead and remove Almirage, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove Jet Synchron. This is a face down banish, so it will trigger Birth once more. Now guys, keep in mind this is without a Rise, so I've already locked 3 zones during their turn. Okay, during my turn I can tag out Baronne to Fleur and go ahead and special summon Ash, which is what I'm going to do, so I can get another active Baronne de Fleur, so we'll do that. Okay, they did respond with Solemn Strike, so Solemn Strike will stop that, obviously at the cost of 1500 life points, but now I can special summon to the field another Kashtira. I can pop a card based on the field spell, so I will go ahead and pop their final card, Link Spider. Right, then here I will activate Kashtira Fenrir, add to hand another Rise Heart, and I can keep going and going and going, but as is the case with most of our Red-Eyes Kashtira builds, we have more than enough damage on field, so we'll go ahead and end them. Okay. Now, let's take a look going second. So going second, we're not going to be able to build the board as easily as we want, and we're going to have to play through some of their interruption. Now, I did not draw any of the 5 hand traps that I run in this deck, so we're dealing with what we have in hand and what I happen to draw at the beginning of this next turn. So the combo they're going with is going to give them a Borreload on the field with 3 negates, 4,500 attack, 4,050 attack, and then they also summon Thunder Dragon Colossus with 1 protection and Nemesis Corridor. So Thunder Dragon Colossus, if it would be destroyed, they can instead banish a Thunder Monster from grave instead. Now I can still banish this, but I have to get through 1 solid Omni Negate. So here, we want to try to bait some of this out the best we can. So I'm going to go ahead and 1 for 1. Let's see if we can bait that by sending Red-Eyes. Okay, they ash that. So they had 1 interruption in hand. Now I'm going to go ahead and we will activate her special summon Fenrir first. Okay, now I'm going to activate Rebranded because I can always get that back later. They did respond, so in this case right there, I will go ahead and banish their Omni Negate to remove that from the field. So Thunder Dragon Colossus prevents me from adding cards from the main deck to my hand. But with Kashtira, I don't really need that much, so this is completely fine. So we're going to go ahead and go Courteous on Fenrir. Courteous is going to search Unicorn to the field. Now I cannot add using Unicorn's effect as is. So what I'm going to have to do to play around this is activate Arise Heart. We are going to go ahead and we're going to banish Ogre. And then, after we banish that, we have 2 level 7s on field. I've already used Fenrir's Banish, so I can't get rid of their card this way. So I need to get rid of it in a different way. So as you can see from my Xyz that I'm locked into, I have a few options. So 1, I can pop a card on field using Dark Armed, but that would require 2 pops for Thunder Dragon Colossus. Now, I do have plenty that I can do with that, but another option is I can always just steal their card with Big Eye and then beat them to death with it, which in this case, I think it's pretty funny, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to use Fenrir, and I'm going to use Rise Heart to make ourselves a lovely Big Eye right here. Won't be able to attack, so I do it in defense. We will detach a Fenrir, and I'm going to go ahead and steal their Colossus. So now, I am not locked, they are locked. So this is how you sort of do a 180 on your opponent here. I'm going to activate Birth. I'm going to use Birth to special summon Ogre. Then I'm going to activate Ogre's effect to search and set to the field, search and add to the hand a Kashtira trap. So we run 2 Kashtira traps. We have Big Bang and we have Prep. So in this situation here, I'm going to go ahead and add a Prep because I'm not going to go into Kashtira Shangri-Ira. So we'll do that. Go ahead and set our Prep. Okay, and in this case, let's go ahead and start expanding outward. So I will detach Ogre, and I will special summon our nice little Red-Eyes Black Dragon. So we have 3 cards that can attack on field. We will go ahead and enter battle. So I will hit, attack, and we will attack. So in this case, we played through the Omni Negate, and we have Colossus on field, and now we actually have access to Zeus. So since we used Big Eye, since we attacked with a Flare Metal, so I'm going to use Big Eye to make a Zeus, and I'm going to make a Zeus down here, so I can leave that zone open for links, and Zeus with 2 materials. Okay, so here, just nothing I can use off of it yet, but I'll go ahead and activate Prep. They have Sangan, which they're probably going to link away. Okay, they're going to use Fusion Destiny to get out DPE. Okay, so DPE, he's trying to destroy 1 card that he controls and 1 card on the field. Out of these, none of that is really troublesome at the moment, so I'm going to let that continue. Okay, so he stopped Colossus from preventing him from search. Wow, it's amazing how it's an annoying card to deal with. It's a shame you had to deal with it yourself. So DPE, when it hits grave, it will trigger an effect to resummon during the standby phase. So we'll go ahead and leave it. Now he's burning for all these effects. Okay, it enters the field. He's going to trigger again. But even if he does that, he's going to leave it so that I can kill him no matter what he kills. So we'll let him do it. Okay, he went with Red-Eyes. Poor choice. He activated another effect again, so he's probably going to burn himself out at this rate. We did draw Pressured Planet Raidsoth, which is the field spell, so now I can search to hand a Kashtira of choosing. So I will search Fenrir. I will summon Fenrir using Kashtira Birth. It lets you normal summon a level 7 without tributing. Activate Fenrir. We will get Rise Heart to hand. We'll use Birth to special summon a level 7 from Grave or from Banish. So we'll do Ogre. Now Ogre can also search the other trap, so I will go ahead and do that. Let's get Big Bang. Go ahead and set our Big Bang, you know, just for it. Go ahead and put our Zeus in attack. Now, our Red-Eyes, we could go ahead and extend that way, but, you know, why not? Let's go ahead and take it as far as we can. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Prep. We will summon our Rise Heart. Activate Rise Heart. We'll go ahead and banish Unicorn. So Rise Heart will become a level 7. And then, just to put some icing on the cake, we'll go ahead and summon another Flare Metal so we can beat them out. We will detach a card. Special summon Vanilla Red-Eyes. And just to prove it's a Red-Eyes deck, there we go. Okay, this time we're going against Sword Soul. We're going first, and we drew into a lot of our Bestial line with only one Kashtira. So we're going to go ahead and start with Black Metal Dragon. I will link it away with Striker to get a search. See if they have Ash. They do not. We will add Darkness Metal. Special summon Darkness Metal. Activate Darkness Metal. Do they have Imperm? They do not. Awesome. Okay, so we will go ahead and bring out our Black Metal Dragon. Then, at this point, we will go ahead and link both into Hermetic Seal. Black Metal will trigger. Then I can add to hand Black Meteor. Meteor effect. Send Red-Eyes Black Dragon to grave. And then we have a Spirit, we have a Magnemite, we have Druis Worm. So we have lots of interaction that we can continue to recur on. So we're going to go ahead and do Magnemite to add things to hand. So we're going to go ahead and banish our Black Metal. Trigger effect. We will set Spirit. Hold Druis Worm for interaction. Kashtira Rise Heart we did not summon because this was more optimal for the play. And then we have Heavenly Spheres for interruption. So some games you're not going to have as heavy as a board as before, so this is a good example of an average board, which has a little more interaction than you think, so let's take a look. Pass. Alright, so we will add to hand. In this case, probably our second copy of Black Meteor. Okay. Let them continue. Draw phase. Alright, so they're going for Tinny Spirited Hara. Okay, they summon Monk of the Tinny. We will continue. Okay. So at this point, we will interact with their board. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Heavenly Spheres. I will tribute Heavenly Spheres. Okay, and then I will bounce to their hand Sword Soul, Strategist, Longyan, or the Tuner token. So for me, the more valuable thing to hit is the Tuner token, so I will do that. And then, Sphere's second effect will trigger. Special summoning from the deck, Albaz, so I will go ahead and do that in defense just in case. Albaz will trigger its effect. I will go ahead and I will send to grave, just because I think it's more valuable to have Kashtira to start extending that direction, and the Druis Worm in hand, our second copy of Red-Eyes Black Meteor. At this point, it will allow me to special summon using Albaz and their Monk of the Tinny a Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade hits the field, instantly active. I have Druis Worm on field, and I have Spirit. And then in grave, he has an Earth, a Fire, and an Earth, so no targets at the moment. Okay, Moyi hits the field. Moyi is getting ready to activate, so I will wait. Token is special summon, so I will activate Mirror Jade, sending Renbrum. And I will banish their token. The key here against Sword Soul is you want to prevent them from having tuners to summon and start synchro summoning with. So we will wait. They're getting ready to end the main phase. I know they don't have anything on field that can hit me, so we'll wait. Okay, they're going into the battle step. Into the battle phase. Okay. Then they're going to go to the end of the main phase. So we will go ahead and trigger effects that we would like. So Renbrum, I could use that to special summon Albaz once per turn, but Albaz's effect is also once per turn, so no need to do that. We will go ahead and we will activate our face down Red-Eyes Spirit to special summon Red-Eyes Darkness Metal. And then I have an option here where I can special summon Druid's Worm by banishing a card from my graveyard. But none of that is absolutely critical at the moment, so we will go ahead and hold as is. Into the main phase, continue to the next turn, draw a card. So we drew Ash, great one to draw. They're activating Blackout, okay, and they're going to pop one of their cards, so we will go ahead and let that go through. Okay. Now that they have sent Darkness Metal to the grave, we need to go ahead and start to extend in a different direction. So I will go ahead and banish our Black Meteor Dragon using Druid's Worm. Go ahead and swap Magnamut to attack, summon Rise Heart, activate Rise Heart's effect. We will banish a card, and in this case we are going to go ahead and banish our copy of Ogre. Okay, and here we still have plenty that we can get into. I can go into Atum and use Atum to search out and add another dragon to the field if I want to extend that way. I can go into Annihilation to pop their card, or I can go into BLS, but that would require me to use Mirror Jade. So the best option here is to go ahead and just enter battle. We'll go ahead and remove their board. And so close, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and get Atum. We will special summon Atum in defense. Activate Atum's effect. We will detach Druid's Worm. And then we will special summon Red-Eyes Black Dragon from deck. And at this point here, we will go ahead and summon Red-Eyes Flare Metal. That way, no matter what they do, they will burn instantly for it. Then I will activate Red-Eyes Flare Metal, triggering effect, special summon a Red-Eyes Black Dragon to the field. And then we will continue passing to their turn. Mirror Jade is now active as well, so we have another non-targeting banish. And Engrave, I also have access to instant speed special summon Albaz if they happen to bounce it. Continue, they activate an effect in hand, and they burn themselves to death for the win. I love Red-Eyes as a deck, so I'm glad that there's still some ways that we can create interesting builds. I feel like TCG is definitely more limited than Master Duel because we have some key extenders like Vert, Band, where Vert was just a better way to use our severely limiting Red-Eyes Fusion. Because right now, it's sort of in a weird spot where if you use Red-Eyes Fusion to get Dragoon, which is a wonderful card, you have to sort of sit on Dragoon as a tower and pass. So I'm definitely looking forward to any future Red-Eyes support, but in the meantime, I really hope you guys enjoy this deck and let me know what you think. See you guys next time.